how to dramatically increase your credit score and raise it from the dead this week on the Extreme Personal Finance Show. Hey everyone, welcome to this episode of the Extreme Personal Finance Show. My name is Chris, and we have a really great guest this week. This week, I'm joined by Jess McCarthy. She's a Minnesota-based realtor and entrepreneur, and really loves turning ideas into action. We're really good friends and business partners. She has helped me in my real estate investing journey, as well as the Amazon reselling business. She is a working mother of 5, and really cool. Like, her and I were talking the other day. She has dramatically increased and repaired her own credit in just over a year. And I'm like, wow, we got to talk about this. So Jess, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
This is going to be exciting. But first of all, I want to let you know the wind is really starting to fly out there, and we're going to get like massive storms. So
Yep. Starts at 1.
hopefully we're
Looks clear here, so we're safe.
Right on. No, I'm excited to hear, because you talked about how, as rightly so, right? You're talking about, like, you're really proud of yourself. You're able to repair your credit, because at one point we were talking, this was like over a year ago, and you were kind of debating, like, should I go to a credit repair company? Should I have someone help? Like, what are the options out there? So I'm really excited to kind of talk through how you did it on your own.
Yeah.
And kind of inspire others to do the same. So
yeah, definitely.
I'm excited to do this. So I guess really quick, just let people know a little bit about your background, who you are, and then we'll jump into, I guess, where your lowest credit score and what happened, like what caused that. Because you mentioned to me, you've had pretty good credit almost your entire life. So
my entire life.
Yeah, let people know a little bit who you are and what led to this situation.
Yeah, definitely. All right. Well, hi guys. Jessica McCarthy, like Chris said, Minnesota-based realtor. I'm in my 10th year of business. I have 5 little kids, and that is my number one priority. And then, real estate and all that comes next. But I have 5 kids, 4 years old and under. I have 2 sets of twins. So I've been really busy with that, along with selling real estate consistently throughout the last 4 years of being pregnant and nursing and having little kids. It's kind of crazy. So when was this? I moved into one of Chris's rentals, actually. My husband and I separated for a short time. And what happened was I was on my own for the first time in, I don't know, a few years. Thought for sure I could do it on my own, but I've never been single and had 3 little kids and had to work and had to pay all the bills all on my own. So life got to me, and I had to furnish a house from nothing. I had to support my kids. I had to pay for my nanny. I had to pay for food. As you know, food costs are through the roof. I did a lot of Facebook Marketplace for furnishing the house, and, sometimes overspent, but most of the time I really stayed within a budget. The real estate market was a little interesting at that time. Still, I did well, but just not good enough. So I had to turn to some credit cards every once in a while to get us by, which I was like, that's what it's for. I'm going to use it. I will, I had every intention of paying it off. I don't know, quite a while after that. I think I was in your rental for 14 months. Things just got really, really tough. Decided to get back together with my husband. And at that time, we got pregnant, found out I was having another set of twins, which is super crazy. And I had to get my finances back in order. So just got really behind on a lot of things. And I remember talking to you, and National Debt Relief was knocking on my door. They were in my inbox. They were calling every day, right? And so I looked into their program really intensely. And I remember talking to you, just saying, like, what do you think about this? This is so, like, it just doesn't feel right to me. But I felt really desperate at that time to do something, because before I went back home, I just needed to get things in order, and I wanted to do it on my own. I didn't want to ask for help. I didn't want to take out a loan or ask family for help. I knew I could do it on my own. So really got deep into the National Debt Relief program and decided that that wasn't going to be for me, and that I was going to do it on my own. And that's what I did. So there's lots of options out there. So people need to know about them before they go down that route, which it is for some people, but it's just not for everyone.
Well, and so after we kind of talked about that, like
Hmm.
some of the methods and some of the tools that you used,
Yep.
I mean, one thing that I think people are often just afraid of, or they don't really even think that they can do it on their own, is you actually negotiated and talked to the creditor yourself
Yep.
and settled an amount.
Yep.
So talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, so I had three credit cards, I believe, at the time, and one credit card, the balance was out of control. The other two credit cards, were secondary and third. I just didn't use those as much, so it wasn't that big of a deal. But that one was pretty hefty. And so I was getting letters in the mail about this and was talking to National Debt Relief. And actually, a lady on the phone there, she's like, "Have you tried calling them?" And I was like, oh my gosh, like they are sending me letters. And I just like flipped the letter over and I'm like, oh, I'll deal with that later. I don't want to look at that right now.
Right,
And
right.
so, oh, baby's crying, gotta go. Like, not gonna deal with that right now. So, anyways, decided, and I just listened to her and I was like, well, if she's telling me that, which she might have gotten in trouble for doing because she was trying to sell me a service, right?
Right, right.
I ended up calling them and it was a great conversation I had with this lady. She told me all my options. And I just said, like, what can we do here? I want to work this out. I don't want, this to go any further. I want to fix it. And so she gave me an amount that I had to pay. I think I had 90 days to pay it. And that's what I decided to do. And so then the other two balances on the other two credit cards, I just left and eventually just paid those in full. So I didn't have to settle with those cards, just that one big card, that big balance that I had.
Sure. And
Hmm.
just to give people a little understanding too, like this was like buying food, buying diapers, buying
Literally.
buying like just the everyday
Gas
things, the
in
everyday
my
things.
car, using my cash to pay my nanny.
Sure. Oh yeah, sure.
You
Well,
know,
and again, because if you're out showing a house, you're not
yeah.
going to show up with your kids.
Yeah. And I do sometimes. So those clients out there that are watching
Right.
this and listening, thank you for being so graceful.
I mean, you would show me houses with your kids all the
Oh,
time.
yeah. I'd be like, get in the van, let's go. So,
Right on. So really, I mean, I guess what was that aha moment where you're like, okay, I got to take the first steps of climbing out of debt on my own.
yeah.
Yeah, and how did you decide on like what to tackle first?
I remember laying in bed at night, just sick to my stomach because I was like, I literally don't know what I'm going to do and I have to do something. And it's when it's starting to affect your sleep and you can't stop thinking about it, you have to just hit it head first and just tackle it and just get rid of it. So that was kind of my aha moment was I just couldn't stop thinking about it. So
Hmm.
then once I talked to the bank, so when I went through National Debt Relief, so I actually did enroll in the program, but what they want you to do is stop paying on all your cards, right?
Hmm.
Stop paying everything. And then eventually these companies reach out to you. And when they reach out to you, you send them to National Debt Relief and you have like a person that speaks to them on your behalf to try to settle your debt.
Interesting. Okay.
So once I went through the program and laid everything out, and they told me this is how long that this is going to take. You have to stop paying on these cards for 6 months at a time. Then, all this crazy stuff. And I was just like, oh my gosh, that just seems so extreme. Like, is this actually what I have to do? So once that big credit card settled with me, then the debt didn't look so daunting
Can you
anymore.
share? Can you share? Are you comfortable sharing when you say big credit card, so people
Yeah,
understand how much was that balance?
it was about 30 grand.
Okay.
And I got it down to like 9,000 something and I had the 90 days to pay that off. So
Got
once I didn't see 30 grand and my minimum payment was like more than my rent and I'm like,
right.
what can I do? This is insane. Um it's embarrassing, but it happens, right?
Well, but yeah, it does. So
Yeah.
so what was obviously that's like you said, staying up late at night, feeling
Yep.
sick.
Yeah.
When you first said, "Hey, you know what? I'm going to make a change. I'm going to get this taken care of." Once you saw the balance not so huge,
Mhm.
how did you keep was that enough like motivation to like keep the ball rolling or
Totally.
okay.
Once that minimum payment, once that minimum payment went away because I paid the 9 grand and just got rid
Hmm.
of it, then I was like, oh gosh, this is totally realistic. And then I went to one of those websites where you can calculate the amount you're paying in interest.
Hmm.
That was super motivating because I'm
Oh,
like, I
sure.
don't want to pay any more interest. I just need to get rid of this. I never want to use a credit card again in my life. This was
That's
just
right.
such a horrible experience. So once I was actually seeing how much interest I was actually paying on these cards every single month and my balance like creeping and creeping and creeping, I was like, okay, the next few closings I have or the next closing I have, I'm just going to throw it all at it
Yeah.
and get rid of it. And so that's when it started. And I just have been continuing to, I use my credit cards, but I pay them off in full every single
Right.
month.
That's
And my
awesome.
credit has gone, I couldn't believe it. I use the Experian app on my phone
Hmm.
to track. So that's another thing that I've done is instead of just ignoring it, I've been tracking and I look at my app almost every single day to make sure things are on track. Where before I didn't have to because I didn't overspend, I
Right.
guess. So I never needed to look at that because I always knew my credit was just fine and my bills were paid. I never had to worry about that before. So use the Experian app and I look at that every single day and just seeing the increase, keeping my balances under the 10%. Under 30% is realistically where you want to be at to keep your credit score as high as possible, but under 10 is
Yep.
just much more helpful. So yeah, if I
That
answered,
that
I have no idea.
that's awesome. That's awesome. Again, I
Yeah.
think it's also motivating for others to hear, like, if they're like drowning in debt, they're
Yep.
like, how am I ever going to do this? You're proof that you can do it. You can do it. You can do it on your own. I
Yep.
mean, what were some of the hardest parts during that time? Like, I know you said, well, you're just gonna, any income that you made on like a house closing or whatever, you're just gonna
Mhm.
pay it off because it sucks when you see everything going to interest, right?
Right.
You're paying money for nothing, it seems.
Yeah. Literally.
Um, what were some of the hardest parts to keep you motivated?
I mean, having a bunch of kids and just trying to keep up with their wants and needs and the things that they needed. So we did a lot of Goodwill shopping, which really is like fantastic because you can get a brand new pair of winter boots for $3 instead of 35 at
That's
Target.
right. That's right.
So we did a lot of thrifting and just got rid of a lot of things, sold a lot of things to keep us on track to being able to pay those things. But I guess just, like I need a new car. I need a new van really bad. And I just have not done the things that I want to do to be sure that I can pay for the things that I need to pay for.
Right. Well, and the
Mhm.
good news now too is, now that you have boosted your credit score
Yep.
over 200 points in
Yep.
just over a year, now if you
Mhm.
do buy a car with a loan, you'll qualify for a lot better interest rate,
Exactly.
right?
Exactly. My whole life, I've never had to worry about qualifying for anything.
Right.
Remember all of a sudden one day I tried to apply for something, I'm not sure what it was, and I was denied. And I was like, "What? Like,
Yeah.
no, this can't happen." So, yeah, I've worked super hard to keep that up and I'm going to continue to do that because I need to make sure that, we have those resources for financing things if we need them.
Right. And as we talked before, on a previous episode, we talked about credit scores and why we should care or not care about them, but they
Mhm.
are significant because think
Yeah.
about it, qualifying for things like a mortgage, the
Mhm.
difference between a 650 and 750 credit score can mean saving $100,000 in interest over a 30-year mortgage. Like, that's
Yeah,
huge,
that's
right?
huge.
And
Yep.
also it's everything from like refinancing opportunities, rental applications, right? Just finding a place to rent, to live.
Even
A lot of
utility companies sometimes
Yeah,
run your credit score. Mhm.
exactly. It's
Yep.
crazy. Like, utilities, also just even like insurances,
Yep.
your insurance premiums, they'll run your credit, and
Yep.
your great insurance premiums are based on how well your credit score is. So you
Right.
can really dramatically slash your car payments or insurance payments because of a
Yep.
good credit score.
Yep.
So
Keep your credit up, your bills go down.
exactly, I love
Yep.
it. That's
And your
great.
opportunities are just greater. Like you said, even rentals. A lot of people rent and choose to rent over
Mhm,
purchasing. I see it every single day. Or I have a client who is going to be doing new construction. So they're selling their house this summer. They're in the process of building their new house and they're going to have a rental for the school year before they get into their new house because they don't want to wait until fall to
mhm.
sell their current house. and they need to keep their credit high to be sure that they can rent and do a month-to-month rental. If their credit is low and they need a month-to-month rental, their payment per month is going to be way greater than if they have a
Sure.
decent credit score doing a month-to-month rental. So, I mean, it's relevant in every day, all the
Yeah,
time.
that's a great example. So you
Yep.
mentioned, you mentioned that, now you still use credit cards, you
Mm-hmm.
pay them off.
Yep.
Are there any other financial habits that may have changed or improved since this process? Like, do you budget differently? Like, what are some
Yeah.
different changes that have happened?
We shop at Aldi. We don't shop at Target anymore, even though I love my Target credit card. I use that all the time. And, to get your extra 5%, which whatever, it's a mental
Hmm.
thing, right? But yeah, we do a lot of Aldi shopping. I don't have anything delivered,
By the
like
way, by the
from,
way, Mike's Discount
I
Foods.
knew you were going to bring that up.
So I mean, people that are listening to this, you may not know that. I didn't realize that there were multiple locations, but they opened up at
Mhm.
Mike's Discount Foods here where I live,
Yep.
and I've been like, I'll text you when there's an awesome deal. I cannot believe the deals I get. Like, I'm saving money even from Aldi. It's crazy.
Yeah. I don't have a Mike's Discount Foods close to me, close enough. But I need, for me, I'm a mom of five. I usually
Yeah,
bring my kids everywhere, everywhere. So I need to be able to have somebody bring my groceries to my car,
sure.
but I don't have them delivered to my house, right? Because you
Yeah.
can pay for the Target subscription where it's, I don't know, $50 a year or something that I
Hmm.
paid to have free delivery. But then you have to tip that person.
Oh,
And
sure.
I've got a family of seven. If I'm ordering groceries, it's $350 worth of groceries, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
That's not a $20 tip. That's a $70 tip. No, I could
Oh,
pay
it's
my
crazy.
nanny for 4 hours, 3 hours to watch my kids and go shopping for that amount of money. So it's just
Right.
like, we don't do a lot of deliveries. I don't shop on Amazon a ton anymore. I do a lot of thrifting.
Yep.
Just, you know, when you're at home with kids all the time, you just don't need as much. I just bought clothes for the first time and I don't even know how long.
Hmm.
So my lifestyle has significantly changed also since having children. So my spending habits, I mean, we don't go out to eat, we don't order food.
Right.
We make all of our food. I mean, we'll order a pizza every once in a while, but I mean, like to feed seven people pizza, you can't just spend $20 on pizza either.
No, you can't.
So it's like when you order on your Uber app and you order Chipotle and all of a sudden it's going to cost you $75, you cancel it and you think again. So
Right.
I just
Right.
can't fathom that amount anymore.
Exactly. Exactly. So let's
Hmm.
give people a little idea. So, you know, you took the bull by the horns, you made this happen, you made the
Yeah.
sacrifices. What was the lowest credit score that you had? And then you increased that over 200 points. So I guess let's look at the dark days.
At my
at,
lowest.
at its lowest, what was that credit
I
score?
wrote it down. It was 557.
Okay.
And I
Okay.
don't know if that was the lowest, but I went back on my app and that's the lowest that I could find. I'm pretty sure that's close to the lowest. And
Hmm.
then this was just this week. Today's what? Thursday? Just
Hmm.
this week, it's up to 760.
Wow. That's
Mhm.
remarkable.
Yeah.
That's
Yay!
awesome because
Finally.
really, that is an excellent score as per FICO, right?
Yeah.
So that would qualify for some of the best rates that are out there and
Right.
qualifying for things. That's awesome. So this is proof that no
Mhm.
matter how bad things look, you can really dig yourself out of those dark times.
Yeah.
So,
And I didn't even like purposefully, I knew I was trying to rebuild my credit, but it's not like I didn't go crazy. I just
mhm.
did what I knew to do. It wasn't that difficult, to be honest. So,
It's consistency, right?
right.
So
Absolutely.
consistency
Pay
when
your
so you got
bills.
to yep, be disciplined.
Yep.
Consistency can dramatically turn things around.
Right.
That's awesome. I
Yeah.
really do appreciate. Jess, thank you so much for sharing your story and hopefully inspiring others that you can do this, man. You absolutely can
Definitely.
do this.
Yeah.
And don't hesitate to ask for help too. You
Right.
can, you know what? You can always reach out to me. You can reach out to a lot of people, like you said, you may not want to talk about your finances or it's kind of embarrassing, but that's what people, at least in the personal finance community,
Yep.
we're there to help you. So you can always get my contact information in the show notes. So I really encourage you to to reach out if you have any questions.
Yep. And I will say one last thing
Yeah.
is that if you are going to be purchasing a house in the
Mm.
future, even if it's a year in the future and you're worried about your credit now, find a lender that you trust. Let them run an application, let them run your credit, let them see what your situation is because they have fantastic information. They
Mm.
want to work with you. They want to get you where you need to be able to make that end goal of purchasing your home. And they're insanely knowledgeable and they can definitely help you with that process as well.
That's a great tip. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, again, thank you so much, Jess. I really appreciate your time. Thank you, everyone, for listening and watching. If you're on YouTube, please like and subscribe wherever you get your podcasts and on YouTube, and share with your friends. We'll see you next time on the Extreme Personal Finance Show. See ya.